Welcome to From First Kiss to Wedded Bliss, the podcast where we talk about all things marriage. From saying I do to learning how to keep saying I still do. I'm your host, Marcy Sullivan, a Christian marriage coach passionate about helping couples build lasting, joy-filled marriages rooted in faith. Each week, we'll dive into real conversations, biblical wisdom, and practical tools that will strengthen your connection, deepen your love, and keep Christ at the center of your relationship. So, whether you're newly engaged, newly married, or years into your journey, this is the place of encouragement, inspiration, and the reminder that a thriving marriage is possible with God's help.
Hello, and welcome to From First Kiss to Wedded Bliss. I'm your host, Marcy Sullivan. Today, Chris, my husband, is joining me, and he will be interviewing me about my book, Loving Well, Devotions for the Heart of a Christian Wife. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you. It's nice to see you today, my love.
Thank you.
Yes, we were here to interview you about your new book. I'd like to say, first off, the cover is very beautiful.
Thank you. I'm very pleased with the way that turned out.
It's very nice, colorful, with roses, some flowers, some really nice pastels. Loving Well, Devotions for the Heart of a Christian Wife. So why don't we just start right there, Marcy? What's the title about? What's the book about?
All right. Well, it is about loving well. And the book contains many testimonies, personal stories of people that I know who loved well in their various situations, their different marriages. Each person is so unique and so individual that I thought it would be great to have a variety of people in a variety of circumstances share their testimony of love through the years. We have some marriages in there that have been quite a while, and then we have others that are very new. There's also stories from history, stories from the Bible to round things out.
Excellent. Excellent. So as a devotional, how is it? Is it a daily devotional?
Right, Chris, that's a great question. This is a 30-day devotional. So there's one devotion for each day. It has a story, it has reflection questions, and it has a prayer to go along with each one.
So it sounds like a great inspirational story.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have of course, Bible verses that go along with it. And that personal reflection, that's pretty important for a devotional.
Right. I think it helps us to apply what we're reading and take it a little bit deeper.
What is your favorite part of devotion time?
My favorite part would be the journaling. So the reflection questions, I think, would be a big part of that. If there's any journalers out there, I think they'll enjoy being able to answer the questions in their journal and process things a little deeper.
And that's really important. I know myself, when I've read about important Christians in history, historical Christians, a lot of them journaled. And it just is, you're able to document your growth and to be able to see the things happen. And I think it's a key part to doing devotions and living it out every day.
And also along with that, journaling is a way to kind of remove yourself from situations and look at it as somebody on the outside. You're telling the story in your own way. And that can be a really good way of processing things, because sometimes when we're in the middle of a situation, it might be a bit overwhelming. We're not sure how to handle it. But when we're writing it down, we're telling the story. And that helps us to remove ourselves from it a little bit to get a different perspective.
And also, I mean, if most people practice that journaling as their intimate time, personal time with God. And boy, you taking those things to God first, that really helps you not, go to other people with those things, to God, the most important. And so you're not overwhelming your spouse or anybody else with those problems, but taking them to the Lord, like the scripture says.
Exactly. And that's what the Psalms are full of. David's crying out to the Lord, telling him about his problems, his troubles, and his praises.
That's right. Yeah, so the personal reflection is extremely important. What I really like is the stories. So, well, first of all, what inspired you to write this 30-day devotional?
I love that question. It didn't start out as a desire to write a 30-day devotional. I never really anticipated ever writing any books, really. However, as I guess the inspiration to start it all off was a friend of mine who is in the book. I thought about her devotion to her husband, even through a tragic loss of, basically, she lost him, essentially. He's still living, but he is not who he was. And he is paralyzed. He doesn't have the cognitive function that he once had. And they're not able to live together anymore. He's in long-term care. But yet her spirit and her attitude through everything was just tremendous. It's just inspiring. She never had any self-pity. She never had anything that looked like depression. I'm sure she had her difficult times, but her example of loving in sickness and in health was an inspiration to me. And so I started out by writing these stories for my blog. And as I did more and more interviews, the next interviews actually came from an appeal to friends on Facebook. Hey, is there any Christian wives who would like to share their stories with me? And I was surprised. I got several from that. And then I thought, well, you know what? Let's just go ahead and make this into a 30-day devotional. That was a goal of mine. And although I wasn't able to get 30 testimonies of people that I knew, I got more than half of the book of testimonies. And then I decided it'd be great to put in some lessons that we could learn from women of the Bible, as well as some famous Christian women in history that some might not be well known, like C.S. Lewis's wife, Joy Davidman, and another that may not be known as well was Martin Luther's wife, Catherine von Boren. So I think it'll be really interesting for some readers to learn a few new things that maybe they didn't know before about different Christians throughout history.
Yes, I agree. I love reading history and biographies. And I remember reading some older books that were republished. There were stories of people who had different testimonies and just their growths in history. Maybe, older missionaries you hear stories about, and other just men of faith or people of faith. And they just gave such great inspiration. I think that goes, I believe that the verses in Revelation that says, how did they overcome? By the blood of the Lamb and the word of the testimony.
Yes.
And I think that is so powerful that just gives people hope to give those kind of stories. And I think your book definitely does that. What do you have a character that you like the most, and why? That you wrote about? I don't say a character, but a person you interviewed.
That would really be hard to say because they are all so unique. Mm-hmm. But I really did enjoy probably my longest married woman in this book, 63 years of marriage. That's 63 now. I guess when I wrote it, it was 62. Mm-hmm. But I loved hearing her story of how she and her husband met and just all the ways that they've stayed connected through the years. So I think that story would probably be one of my favorites for sure. But my actual favorite is our own love story.
Okay. All right. That's good.
Because it's ours.
That's right. Now, I think you kind of already explained this, but you have a mixture of stories in there from ladies that are friends that you reached out to them and they connected with you. And then you have people from history, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know you have a great variety of different people in there in your book. Why did you choose a variety of people from the past, in the current?
Okay, that's a great question. I did want to get a variety of people because each person reading this book has a different life story.
Mm.
And I hope that having such a variety of people in this book, that maybe each lady who reads this will have someone that they can identify with.
Right. Maybe
they're in a relationship where there's addiction. I have stories of that. Maybe they're in a relationship where the wife has physical health problems. I have a story of that. Maybe it's like the first story I mentioned where the husband is no longer physically well. Mm. So there's a lot of different stories that people can relate to. I have pastors' wives and other ministry leaders that maybe someone can relate to. Or someone like myself who had a child before she was married. Mm-hmm. So there's lots of different people in here and lots of different struggles. And, life is not without struggle. And because no one is perfect, no marriage is perfect either. But there's definitely lessons that we can learn from each of these stories.
Now, I asked about, did you have a favorite one that you liked? But was there a challenging chapter?
Oh, that's a good question, too.
Or the daily devotion that you had to write?
Sometimes the challenge is with the interview trying to take 4 pages of notes and condense it down into what's the most important, what is the meat out of this. So I would say that that's probably the most challenging part, and that was really with each story to find that. I think you also want everything to have a neat, tidy finish, and some of these, all of our stories are yet to be finished.
That's right.
Except for these ladies of history who are now in heaven. But mm-hmm. So I guess that would be the challenge is the end is not written yet. These stories are continuing.
Yes, I think it's going to really encourage a lot of ladies to have current examples people live in that are experiencing things in life, but growing in the Lord and walking their faiths out with their situations, with their husbands, with their families, and they're really going to be inspired and encouraged by this. And I love the way you've paired it with different verses that maybe came from the people or that you were inspired to do to apply to that chapter.
Sometimes a verse could apply to many different ones. In Ecclesiastes, where we talk about 2 are better than 1, that could apply in many different situations. But sometimes, yes, it came out of something that they said that just seemed to fit what the message of their story was.
You weren't expecting to do a book. You weren't exactly planning on doing it, but you were at the same time putting down your thoughts and sharing them with public on Facebook and in your blogs and things like that. So having putting this all down in book form and everything for the first time for yourself, do you have any advice for somebody who's saying, hey, I want to share some testimony. I wanted to do something similar to that?
Right. Well, I guess it just starts with do some posts on Facebook and start writing their story there. Or maybe if they want to have a website and start a blog, it's a really great way to share your thoughts and put them in order. I would write these stories little by little, save them on a Word document, and eventually compile it all. And you can self-publish like we did. Chris and I have both published books through Kindle Direct Publishing, which makes it really simple to be a published author now.
That's right. It is. Technology has been great. And one way I think that's been like super nice is that, and it's going to be impactful for the ages now, because you've got the book in print. People are allowed to see their stories and be inspired by that. And also they have an example. Hey, I can do this. Also, I would say probably a good example is the interaction between yourself and on your blogs. They can interact with you and your Facebook and your website and things like that, and be able to continue the story, as it were.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's true. And I think, like you were saying, that yes, this is a testimony for each of the women who shared. And for myself personally, it's a witness. It's kind of like having a whole bunch of mentors in one book.
That's right.
A whole bunch of mentors. And this will be something that I think would be a great gift for any new bride. All the women in your life, your married women, could benefit from reading these stories. And I'm really grateful. Like you said, we will overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. Testimonies really strengthen people's hearts when they see, oh, that person did it. I can do that too, you know?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So I know the book is the biggest project you just completed. Do you have any other projects or things you're working on you'd like to share?
Well, thank you for asking. Yes, I've been inspired to go ahead and do another devotional written for Christian moms. And I think that will be a really great one. I've already gotten 2 stories written there. And if anybody's interested in sharing their story with me, I'll be happy to interview them for the future stories in the devotional. I'm also working on a prayer book for families, something that what we used to do with our kids when they were little, to actually have a book with pictures in it of the people that we were praying for, and a place to write the different requests that we have and how God answers. It's really a great tool to use with kids in the family, where they can hold it, they can look at it, and they can learn to pray for others.
That's very good. All right, do you have any other projects that you're doing? YouTube and other blogs and things like that?
Okay. Right. Well, there is a YouTube channel, Marcy Sullivan Coaching, if anybody wants to check that out. If you're listening to the First Kiss to Wedded Bliss podcast, then you already know about that.
That's right.
But then you and I have a little podcast detailing some lessons that we've put together called Journey to Lasting Love.
That's right. Yeah.
So they can find that on Spotify as well.
Sounds good. I know there's lots of things, and you do an excellent job on wanting to encourage women to follow their passions with the Lord, and just be encouraged by God, and to do that, and to be a wife and mother. And I know you're going to be a great encouragement to this is going to be a good encouragement to a lot of women.
Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate talking with you about this.
Yes. Thank you for letting me interview you.
Thanks Thanks for joining me on From First Kiss to Wedded Bliss. If today's episode encouraged you, share it with a friend, and be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. For more resources and coaching to strengthen your marriage, visit marcysullivan.com. Until next time, keep Christ at the center and keep choosing love every day.